Hello, and thank you for taking a couple minutes out of your time today to watch my presentation on what is my work as a learner and a teacher. Throughout my presentation, I hope you'll be able to gain new insights and ideas and information of your own as I have over the past couple weeks. I'd like to start off with a quote I found by Russell M. Nielsen, and he says, "Parents and teachers, learn to listen, then listen to learn from children. A wise father once said, I do a greater amount of good when I listen to my children than when I talk to them." By listening to children and listening to their innocent little questions that they have, we can learn so much through children. We just first need to be willing and open enough to listen to them and be open to learning from them. So my three questions that I have pondered for the past couple weeks are: how can I become a better learner? How can I be a learner while teaching? And three, how can I teach a large class with a variety of different types of learners in the most effective way? So starting with number one, how can I become a better learner? First, I found this quote by Joey Atio from a TED Talk in 2014, and he says, "You're not going to be on the top of a mountain all by yourself with a number 2 pencil. What we need to learn is how to learn." So first, we need to find our desire. Once you have that desire to learn, that will be your motivating factor through your whole learning process. And then second is reading. Through reading, you gain so much more insights by reading different types of books, articles, anything. You will always learn something by reading something. And the Roman Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Books are the training weights of the mind." Just like the article says, like, as we read, they will strengthen our mind and our thinking process. And number three, experiment, engage, and discuss. We are all just like a sponge. If we sit there and we have our desire to learn, we're reading to gain more knowledge, that is all good things. But if we are not experimenting and engaging, then we are just like a sponge soaking all that information in, and then when someone squeezes us, you're not going to retain it. Just like as someone questions you about the material that you've been reading, that's the same as squeezing, and it's all gonna run out. You need to experiment with it and talk to people about what you've learned, and it will strengthen your understanding of the topic. And the final one is step outside your comfort zone. Learning is all about trying new things and going places you haven't been before, and as you step outside your comfort zone, you will learn a lot more than if you stay inside your little box. Number two is how can I be a learner while teaching? I found an article by Richard Resick titled "Learning Through Teaching," and I found it to be very, very insightful, and I really like this article. And the main point I pulled out of it is the best test of whether or not you really understand a concept is trying to teach it to someone else. And some questions that I found to ask yourself to just check if you really know the material is: how do you know that? And when would you use that? And how could you come up with that in the first place? Those are just questions you can ask yourself to make sure you understand a topic. And if you can't answer these questions for something you know, then you can't teach it. If you can't answer the basic questions of how do you know that, or when could you use that, or how did you come up with that, then when you go to teach it, no one else is going to understand it either. So it's really important to learn the material and understand the material you're teaching before you teach it. And finally, how do I teach a large class with a variety of different types of learners in the most effective way? I also found another article with 1 through 186 different ideas on how to teach a class full of different students and just different activities, like when you are introducing a new subject, make them guess, and passing the chalk around. You provide a piece of chalk or a soft toy to pass around to each student, and whoever has the chalk or the toy answers the next question that you have for them. And drawing for understanding. Having the students draw pictures of something you have been teaching to help them understand a subject more better. better will better help them understand. And the most important one, I feel like, is the real world concept, and it's have students discuss in class how you would use this in the real world and how it would apply to them in the real world, and then have them write about it or ask them to record ideas or draw pictures on index cards. There are 186 wonderful ideas on this article, and I've provided a link below that you can go to visit the same website to get ideas and such. And finally, I like to end on this quote at the bottom of this picture, and it says, "The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires." And that's by William Arthur Ward. Let us all be the great teacher. Let's inspire our children. Let's do all of these things. I feel like the great teacher tells, explains, demonstrates, and overall inspires. Let's be the best teachers as we possibly can be. Thank you for listening to my presentation today.